My guest today is Alvin Khan. Alvin is the Chief Operating Officer at BitGet Wallet. I guess looking after all things BitGet Wallet, Web3. We'll learn all about this today. Welcome to the show, Alvin.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for inviting.
It is a pleasure. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show, Alvin. It would be cool if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear a little bit about, your background, your personal and professional backstory, what you've been doing in the lead up to, becoming a COO at BitGet Wallet.
Sure. First things first, I'm based in Singapore. So if you guys are coming for Token 2049 later, feel free to ping me. Um, my career really spanned across public sector to internet and then now to Web3. Most of my career, I spent almost a decade at LinkedIn. So if you've used it for professional networking, I was first in sales and then in data analytics. And then I moved to the exciting world of Web3. First at Binance, doing a mix of analytics and then, kind of heading up growth for BNB Chain, which is the blockchain. And then was in Say for a couple of months before coming to BitGet Wallet. So, the past 3 to 4 years in Web3, most of it is actually in the blockchain space.
Yep, very nice. Let's just at the top of the show then be useful, Alvin, I think, just to get a little bit of context. Number one on BitGet, and then I guess number two on BitGet Wallet. A lot of people probably do understand that BitGet is an exchange, and obviously BitGet Wallet. Well, I guess it's probably a wallet, right? But I'm sure you can explain it a little bit better than me. So yeah, just give us a little bit of context on, I guess, the kind of wider context of BitGet, and we can get into a bit of the history of the BitGet Wallet.
Sure. So BigGet is a large ecosystem, right? I mean, when you think about BigGet, you think of obviously, BigGet Wallet, decentralized exchange, you have Foresight News. So they are basically an ecosystem made up of many different parts. And I think one thing that people may not realize, and it's really because of market dynamics, right? Because today Binance is Binance Wallet, right? Bybit is Bybit Wallet. I think BigGet Wallet is quite different in a way where if you look at, say, OKX wallet, right? The wallet and the exchange is actually the same app. Right? You just toggle between Web3 and centralized exchange, and that's it. But then for BigGet Wallet, we're actually kind of very, very independent. So the app itself is a separate app from the BigGet exchange. The executive teams, which means like myself, the CEO, the CTO, they're all a separate team altogether. And that I think makes it easier because when I think of a non-custodial wallet I want to use, right, I want to make sure there's as much decentralization as possible. And so that's kind of the stance we take here. So BigGet Wallet operates pretty independently. Today we have about 20 million users in our user base. We've been fast growing, right, established since 6 years ago. In fact, I think was it yesterday? Oh no, 2 days ago was our 6 year anniversary. So we've come a long way. I think 6 years is definitely a long time in crypto.
Oh man, you're exactly right, Alvin. 6 years is a very long time in crypto. Look, and it's a long time in Web3. The kind of, I guess the glory days of 2021 when Web3 kind of went mainstream, had a mainstream moment, had a
Hmm.
metaverse moment, NFTs, of course. Everything was looking good. A lot of new users coming into the global Web3 ecosystem. It was amazing to see. It's a little bit quieter now, but of course, everyone's still busy building. There's still a lot going on. Maybe just love to get your opinion, I guess, on the kind of the landscape of Web3 at the moment. Any way you want to tackle it, landscape of Web3 wallets, even, and kind of what the market looks like, and then also perhaps talk about what you do at BitGet Wallet to try and kind of maintain an edge and stay ahead.
Cool. Well, that's a lot of questions packed into one.
There is. Any way you want, Alvin. Any way you want.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the market first. I think
Sure.
everyone is, always excited to talk about that. We're in a phase where, it's just kind of range bound. Some people are saying like it's between like, I don't know, 57K to 67, 68K. And it's just bouncing in that range. It's funny how when it goes up to 67, 68K, like everyone is like, oh, it's back. And then, it drops 1,000 for Bitcoin, and then everyone is so bearish. Look, we don't know where it's gonna go. But I do believe in a longer bull run, right? There are two things. One is if you look at just the pricing chart of BTC over multiple decades, I think most people are kind of bullish. that, right after halving is where a lot of the excitement takes place. Exactly which month, nobody knows, right? The second thing is, I think in previous cycles, there's usually about three different legs to this cycle. And my view, as with many view, is that, maybe the first leg is kind of done, but then there is still the second leg that's coming up. And again, when that is, we don't know. Is it going to go down? At some point, BTC has, or the entire crypto market has always seen, as much as a 50% decrease, right, from the peaks. And, this it could go down further. Nobody knows. And my take is always this, that if you're confident about something, you buy on the deep rather than selling. But again, depends on what you have, right, in your wallets. So I think that's the market. Let's talk a little bit about wallets, right? It's increasingly exciting yet competitive as well. You have, more non-custodial wallets coming up. A lot of them are doing airdrops right now. Then there is also the exchanges, right? Like the likes of like Bybit, Binance, OKX, all coming into the wallet space as well. And then third, you have the embedded wallets, right? So this could be, say, like your Particle wallets, which, they do wallet as a service, right? So that as GameFi or SocialFi, you can create your own wallets very easily. Um, Look, I think all three are going to kind of exist because they have very different target markets, or rather, users have very different preferences, right? For someone who's really into DeFi and Web3, you prefer a fully non-custodial wallet that's separate from a centralized entity. Some just prefer the convenience, right, of being able to play in Web3 but still using your centralized exchange entities. So I think they're all going to exist, but in the end, it's going to come down to who provides a better service, right? And when we think about better service, better user experience, we got to realize that in Web3 and DeFi, it's getting very, very complex and complicated, right? You do so much podcasts, you would have heard of, all these narratives about restaking, EVM parallelization. You have so many different like network chains coming up. It's becoming very hard to navigate. And more often than not, a lot of wallets leave it to the users, right, to just connect to these different dApps, key in their custom chain IDs and so on, and do all this work themselves. What we want to do is to provide a very seamless experience, right, for them to just say, all right, it's intent-based. I want to buy this token. I have this token. How do I do it in one click, right? Things like, new narratives like pre-market is coming up, right? Points trading. But many of this, you still have to go, through the wallet browser and go through that whole process of connecting and signing multiple times before you actually get to what you want to do. But here we are, which I'll talk a bit about it later, but we've managed to aggregate a lot of these and make it slightly native in experience. So I think that's what we're aiming for, to be the best wallet for swapping and earning tokens in Web3.
Yeah, really interesting thoughts there, Alvin. I think you hit the nail on the head in that one of the traps that people can fall into is in crypto is they build products for crypto natives, which is great, of course, because crypto natives, that's kind of the target market. But to go beyond that and get the kind of the next wave of mainstream users, it needs to be as you've talked about, it's kind of as seamless and easy as possible. But of course, that's hard because that's the nature of blockchain. There are a few different stumbling blocks, and that's just the name of the game. But of course, over time, of course, the end result will get easier and easier as we kind of abstract some of those complexities away. But yeah, how do you think about that sort of, I guess, the challenges and obstacles of building a Web3 wallet that works for both those users, I guess, like for crypto natives, but the new people coming in as well?
Um, it's tough, right? Because a lot of the things, the wallet is a tool for you to access Web3 in general, but much of it is also reliant on the underlying infrastructure, right? And that's why you have like account abstraction on all this coming up. But just the very nature of blockchains today, say a user just wants to be able to trade new coins, but the new coin may not be on EVMs, right? Maybe it's I don't know, a Solana coin, or it's on a Bitcoin L2. Oh, then does the wallet need to support? And being able to be supporting like a Bitcoin, infra or a Cosmos ecosystem is a lot of different engineering work that needs to go, right? When we think about, say, integrating a chain, there's so many different layers of what it means to integrate a chain, right? From, say, the first layer is like, are you able to kind of show your assets, right? Balance on that chain. And then you go down to, are you able to swap, right, on that chain, which means you need to aggregate all the different dexes on that chain. And then it goes down to, all right, do you support like the charting of coins on that chain, which means you need to integrate with, I don't know, CoinMarketCap or something else. And then you go down to, all right, are you able to swap NFTs on that chain? Which again, is a different layer of work. So I think that's one challenge, which is how do you keep up, right, with the pace of proliferation of many different technologies that's coming up. I'm proud to say actually Bitget Wallet has done that pretty well so far. We are probably the only wallet today, or one of the one or two wallets where you can swap across like Solana, Bitcoin ecosystems, EVMs, Move ecosystems like Sui and Aptos, right? And you're also able to play on dApps in like Sei and other Cosmos ecosystems. So there's a lot of integration work that needs to be done. I think that's the first challenge. The second one is then gas fees, right? And that's a pain, right? You want to buy a token on this chain and oh my, you have to bridge, right? And then you have to do all these things. And I think this is down to number one, can we change the underlying infra? But that depends on the blockchain, so things like, account abstraction comes up. And wallets are also finding ways around it. So for example, for Bitget Wallet, we have a feature called instant gas, right? And that means if you want to cross-chain swap a token, right? You have ETH in Ethereum and you want to buy something in Polygon, you need not have Matic in Polygon, right? We actually just deduct it from your Ethereum. So that makes it easier for users who are trying to kind of diversify away from the main chain that they're on. So things like this, I think a lot of innovation needs to go in. And then I think lastly is just user education, because like I said, Web3 is so complicated. Simple things like, hey, you need to look at, where you're connected to, where you've authorized before, maybe use like revoke.cash to revoke some of your authorization. All these things needs to be thought of.
Yeah, no, great thoughts again, Alvin. Man, it's it is a complex beast. All right, and look, talking about all the different chains, and tokens. You guys have a token as well. So there's a native token to the Bitget wallet. It's the BWB token as well. That's what it's called, right? So, well, let's talk about that, and then after that, I imagine that will be a big part of your future plans to have a kind of an on-chain layer, which I'm sure involves that token. But let's do the token first. So yeah, the BWB token.
Cool. Well, let's talk a bit about, why we want to have a token, the utility, and then I'll go into the tokenomics as well. But essentially, I think we've come to an inflection point where, the last 6 years has been about, growing, building a lot more features and so on. But we've come to a point where, more and more Web3 users are coming in, or rather Web2 users are coming to Web3. And we've also gotten to a state where there's so much complexities that needs to be extracted away, and we can't do it alone, right? So what we're doing with the BWB token, a big part of it is actually building the Bitget on-chain layer. I won't go too much into it in this question, but it cannot be built by us alone, right? And that's why we're opening up the development of features within the wallet to include other teams, like external teams as well. And so, having a token gives us the tools and, the facility to do it, because now we can incentivize, with a token, it's actually a tool for you to involve other bigger players or other stakeholders into your ecosystem. And that's what we aim to do. So we are launching 1 billion tokens, right? It'll be on ETH at first. And then we are actually kind of, we are bridging into Solana and Base as well. So if I'm not wrong, this could be one of the very first few tokens that's also launched on 3 different chains right from the start. And we intentionally do it because we feel that it is a multi-chain future, right? There's no need to kind of limit it to one. Each chain has its own benefits, right? Solana, most people are trading on it, and many of them I know prefer to have their tokens in Solana. And part of it is because they have a very rich ecosystem. For example, our BWB points are actually listed on Whales Market, right? Which really pioneered the idea of points trading, and they're on Solana. And then we're going to do our IDO on our own IDO platform, and that will be on Base because the experience is very good and gas fees are very low. So things like this, we have thought a lot about it, about how to actually launch a token. So multiple chains, 1 billion tokens, almost 70%, I think around there, is dedicated to the ecosystem development and community treasury. So it's very fair, right? Only 10% is given to teams. 10% is given to investors, and then, a few percentage points given to airdrops. So I would say one of the fairest tokenomics I've seen amongst crypto tokens.
Interesting. Okay. And I understand that, yeah, I mentioned that on-chain layer component of the BitGet wallet, and I'm sure this is kind of your roadmap. You've created a 10 million BWB ecosystem fund to, I guess, invest, incubate projects that want to come and build with you guys.
Yes, yes. So very good reaction so far from the community. We're happy about that. And it's I think more importantly is to excite developers to come and work with us. So what the BitGet on-chain layer is, right? It's basically the intermediate layer between users and a complex Web3 world. And if you think about experience in a wallet, right? The best experience you have for a particular function you want to have is, say, swaps, right? Imagine having to go to 10 different swaps to check out the rates and see which is better. Most wallets today actually kind of integrate that swap function. So when you check natively in the wallet, you're actually checking against 100 DEXs that we have integrated with, right? So it gives you the best path and so on. And then on the other hand, if you want to access a service that's not natively built into the wallet, you go to the explore section. Every wallet has it, right? But then the experience is very clunky, right? The UI of that page may not be built beautifully and may not merge into your mobile screen, for example. The wallet connection may not be integrated into the wallet as well. So you find that clunkiness, right, for 2 full minutes. You may be kind of just struggling along and then realizing that you can't do certain functions. And what we want to do is to find something in the middle where we created this concept called MFDs, which is modular feature dApps. So a dApp, for example, if a pre-market DEX, right, wants to build, they can exist as a dApp independently, right? But if users want to access them, we can work with them to integrate it as a native feature within the wallet. So again, you don't have to go through the standard route of connecting on browsers and so on. Just like a swap, right, or a bridge kind of function within a wallet, you can do so very quickly from the homepage. So we're going to test this out. We are working with about 2 to 3 teams incubating new ideas for a wallet, and then they will be integrated natively into the wallet as well. So that's what the fund is for. And once we build out the whole suite of features, right, that forms the BitGet on-chain layer.
Very nice, very nice. Lots going on then. Look, Alvin, for people that are not already in the BitGet ecosystem or using the BitGet wallet, tell people why they should come and take a look at the BitGet wallet, and what's the best way for them to do that. What should they do? Where should they go?
Sure, sure. Um, Look, I've used almost all wallets. My first wallet was MetaMask, and then started using other wallets as well. And of course, I've tested tons of others. I would say this is easily the best wallet for trading Web3 tokens and earning Web3 tokens. So trading and earning, if these two are your kind of primary use cases, definitely try it out. The reason why I'm saying this, right? If you're swapping tokens, we have integrated probably the most number of chains, which actually expands exponentially the number of tokens you have access to. And we have aggregated over 100 plus DEXs, which means most of the popular ones, they are already kind of integrated and aggregated, so you always find the lowest fees. And then we are one of the very few wallets that have candlestick charts, right? So again, we don't feel that you have to lose the experience just because you're not in a centralized exchange. You should have very, very similar features and experience, right? But being able to trade in Web3. And we are also the only wallet with something what we call smart money insights. So if you're used to like smart money from Nansen, it works in similar ways. We tell you where are profitable traders trading, like which coins are they buying in real time, right? So if you see that, all right, 10 smart money is buying this token right now, we show all these insights within the wallet app. So that's the first. In terms of earning tokens, every week we have been giving out about 100 plus to 200K USD, right, in terms of tokens from other projects. And I believe today only 1 or 2 other wallets are able to fight that. So why we do that is because, it's, well, number one, it's a bull market right now. Many projects are launching. So they do have the budget, they do have the tokens. And what we then have to do is to find these projects that are willing to kind of give these giveaways, aggregate them and make it easy for users to participate through the mobile app so you can earn on the go. So I think we will keep up with kind of the sheer size of the prize monies just to make sure that users will, they will keep getting rewarded over time.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. And as we finish up this part of the podcast, Alvin, tell people where they should go to look at download the wallet, look at the wallet. There's a website, App Store. What should they do?
Yep. So, well, it's on, the Chrome extension. It's on, Apple Store. It's on Android as well. I particularly use the apps more often. I'm always on the go, and it's very easy. All the apps, all the features that I mentioned, they actually work great on the app as well. And I say this because most people think that features are mostly on the Chrome extension, but not on the app. Our app works wonderfully, so give it a try.
Awesome. Awesome. Links are in the show notes, folks. All right. Well, thank you, Alvin. I think what we do now is we will finish off by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Sure. I have no idea what it is, but go for it.
All right, I like it. Just nothing to worry about, Alvin. Just going to run some questions at you. Just want you to give me your kind of honest, hot take style answers, if you like. Question one for you. I think I know what you're going to say, but it is: where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I'm actually multi-chain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. All right, what would you say then is your firmest conviction crypto opinion, Alvin?
Greatest conviction opinion. It's here to stay and it's gonna get a lot bigger. I think there aren't many use cases that have been entrenched yet. We're gonna see some very good ones in the next 5 years, but we're still very early, very early.
Very early indeed. I tend to agree. Alvin, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. So with that in mind, anything you like, but I guess Web3, the BitGet wallet, what does it all look like in 10 years' time?
Yep. So um when I entered LinkedIn about 15 years ago, I still recall there was like 100 million members or maybe less than that, and today we're at 1 billion. And at that time, when I was telling people what LinkedIn was, many people are still skeptical. And I think we are at that stage, but even earlier. I do feel Web3 decentralization, like all these, are going to be main concepts in global economy. And we're still very early. I also think certain sectors like real world assets, they are so early right now, right, that only a few institutions are at play. But when real world assets really get big, you will look back and say there is only two kind of eras or phases, right? Era one was when there was only on-chain assets, like digital assets, and then phase two was like when all the real world assets became tokenized. So, a lot of these are going to be very, very big concepts.
Very much agree. William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Alvin, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Wow, good question. Um, I would say so. I'm a big fan of proof of humanity. I think there are going to be a lot of cases in the future where you need not have like particular like KYC to know who you are. But as long as they know you're human, that's good enough, right? Against botting and other stuff. And I think WorldCoin, for example, is a very good experiment at that. And when it launched, right, with these concepts like UBI, it was still kind of very early on. But I do think I've seen increasingly more projects like this, right, like scanning your palms and so on. I do think that's going to be a big part of our future as well.
Very much
And
agree.
they're
And it
already
brings,
here.
yeah,
They're already here.
and that's exactly right. And it brings us to our final question, which is: what is your favorite science fiction, a book, a film, or TV show?
Has to be Three Body Problem.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I read that book. I think I finished the trilogy in 2, 3 days. Was just glued to it the entire time. Watched it on Netflix. I think the book is better, but yeah, I shan't spoil the plot. But there's so many concepts glued together in like one trilogy. Plus, I think the other part is also when we talk about technology, people are always talking about AI and so on. I used to be in data analytics, so I'm very sensitive to this topic. And I think when this concept of AI and tech becomes really big, a very necessary profession that's bound to grow bigger as well is philosophy. How do we deal with all this, right? Robotics and AI, how do we increasingly identify with ourselves? How do we even differentiate identities? All these are very big philosophical questions. Maybe it's going to be the next big profession next time.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think you're onto something there, Alvin. As we begin to merge with the machines, there's going to be some deep philosophical questions about what does it mean to be human, and what does it mean to be post-human, and there'll be some tension between those two ideas, I think.
There will be, and that's why we need more podcasts like this, right, to discuss all these sometimes morality issues.
Yeah. All right. Hey, look, thank you so much, Alvin. It was great spending some time with you today. Thank you for coming on the show. Just to finish off, tell people where they can find you on X or wherever else you like to hang out online. And again, just, shout out the BitGet wallet any way you like.
Sure, sure. So you can find me, just search for Alvin Khan on LinkedIn, or on Twitter. My handle is Alvin_KAN. Yep. And, find out more about BitGet Wallet as well. It's at web3.bitget.com. Yep. Feel free to interact with us. We have a very active community. So anything you need, there are ambassadors in place to help you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alvin. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. There was Alvin from BitGet. Very nice guy. And there, look, BitGet wallet, it is a good wallet. I've played with the wallet before. So, yeah, check it out. BitGet, previous sponsor of the show as well. So, shout out to BitGet. Three body problem comes back again. Yeah, I've talked enough about three body problem on this show, probably. But yeah, I like what Alvin said at the end about, as AI begins to really just become a pure force of nature, which it seems like it will over certainly the decade or two ahead. Philosopher, is philosopher going to be a new job thanks to the rise of AI? Kind of, but definitely we'll need, a serious rethink of what it means to be a pure form of consciousness in the age of AI. Well, that was a weird place to finish the podcast, but here we are. Anyway, I think we'll finish off right there. So thank you, folks, for listening or watching. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. Bye for now.